My ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered why some people walked out of your life right when you thought you needed them the most? Why certain doors slammed shut even when you prayed so hard for them to stay open? What if I told you that wasn't rejection, that was divine protection? What if the very thing that hurt you was actually God saving you? Because when God places his hand over a woman's life, no evil plan can prosper, no hidden trap can succeed, and no toxic person can stay where God says, you don't belong here. Today we're uncovering 8 powerful signs that a woman is protected by God from evil people. Sometimes the most painful moments in life are not the things that happen to you, but the people who walk away from you. You trusted them, you invested your time, your emotions, your loyalty, and suddenly they are gone. No explanation, no closure, no warning. It feels like rejection, like loss, like something has been taken from you. But what if what you're calling loss is actually protection? What if God, in his infinite wisdom, removed someone from your life because he could see what you could not see? There are conversations that happen behind your back that you will never hear, intentions hidden behind smiles that you will never fully understand, and plans forming in the dark that were never meant to touch your life. God sees all of that. He knows the hearts of people, even when they appear kind on the outside. So when he steps in and removes someone, it is not to hurt you, but to shield you. It may not make sense in the moment, and it may leave you confused and broken, but God is not operating based on your feelings. He is operating based on your future. He is protecting your peace, your purpose, your calling, and your destiny. Some people cannot go where God is taking you because their presence would contaminate what he is trying to build in you. Their influence would distract you, their negativity would weaken you, and their intentions would eventually harm you. So God, in his mercy, removes them before the damage is done. You might cry over their absence, but heaven is celebrating your protection. You might question why they left, but God is saying they were never meant to stay. Sometimes the greatest blessing is not who enters your life, but who God removes from it. And when you begin to understand this, your perspective shifts. You stop chasing people who walk away, and you start trusting the God who allowed them to leave. You stop begging for connections to be restored, and you start thanking God for the ones he broke apart. Because every removal has a reason, and every separation carries a purpose. God is not taking something from you, he is saving you from something. Even when it hurts, even when it feels unfair, even when you don't understand it, you have to trust that God is working behind the scenes, protecting you from battles you didn't even know you were about to face, guarding you from people who didn't come with pure intentions, and clearing your path for something greater that is ahead. There are moments in life when you can feel the opposition rising against you, when you sense that not everyone around you has pure intentions, when words are spoken behind your back, when people quietly hope for your downfall, and when situations seem to be arranged in a way that could harm you, discourage you, or stop your progress. And in those moments, it is easy to feel vulnerable, to feel like you are alone in the fight, to feel like the pressure is too much. But what you must understand is that no plan formed against you has more power than the protection that is over you. Because when God is involved in your life, every hidden agenda, every negative intention, and every attempt to bring you down is already seen, already known, and already limited before it can ever reach its full effect. People may try to block your opportunities, but doors will still open in ways they cannot explain. They may speak against your name, but somehow your reputation continues to stand. They may attempt to discourage you, but strength keeps rising inside of you. And that is not coincidence. That is divine covering working in your favor, because God does not promise that people will not try you, But he does promise that what they try will not succeed in the way they intended. What was meant to harm you will lose its power. What was meant to break you will instead build you. And what was meant to stop you will only delay you long enough for God to prepare something better. And even when it feels like things are going wrong, even when you see signs of opposition, you have to remember that God can take what was designed for your destruction and turn it into something that strengthens your faith, sharpens your character, and pushes you closer to your purpose. Because no matter how carefully someone plans against you, they cannot outplan God. No matter how determined they are to see you fall, they cannot override what God has already decided for your life. And no matter how strong their efforts may seem, they are still limited by a power greater than anything in this world. So instead of living in fear of what people might do, you learn to live in confidence of what God will do. You stop focusing on the negativity around you and start trusting the protection over you, because when you truly believe that God is covering you, you understand that attacks may come, but they will not win. Pressure may rise, but it will not break you. And challenges may appear, but they will not destroy what God has already secured. And in the end, every plan that was meant to harm you will fall apart before it can ever truly succeed. There comes a time in your life when certain people no longer feel the same, when conversations that once brought joy start to feel heavy, when being around certain individuals begins to drain your energy instead of lifting your spirit, and you may not immediately understand why this shift is happening. You might even try to force things to stay the same, holding on to relationships out of habit, loyalty, or fear of being alone. But what you are experiencing is not random. It is God gently and sometimes firmly separating you from connections that are no longer healthy for your soul, because not every relationship is meant to last forever, and not every person is assigned to walk with you into your next season. Some people were only meant to be part of a chapter, not the entire story. And when their purpose in your life is complete, God begins the process of detachment, not to hurt you, but to protect your growth and preserve your purpose. Because toxic connections often come disguised as comfort, familiarity, or even love. But beneath the surface, they carry negativity, manipulation, jealousy, or influence that slowly pulls you away from who God is calling you to become. And if those connections remain, they can delay your progress, cloud your judgment, and weaken your faith. So God steps in and he starts to change your desires, your tolerance, and your perspective. Things you once ignored now stand out clearly. Behaviors you once accepted now feel wrong, and environments you once enjoyed begin to feel uncomfortable. And this inner shift is not you becoming difficult or distant. It is God awakening your spirit to recognize what is not aligned with your future. And sometimes the separation is gradual with less communication and growing distance, and other times it is sudden with conflicts or misunderstandings that lead to a complete break. And while it may feel painful, confusing, or even unfair, you have to trust that God sees what you cannot see. He knows the long-term impact of every connection in your life. And he is not willing to let the wrong people sabotage what he is building in you. So instead of resisting the separation, you begin to embrace it, understanding that letting go is not losing. It is gaining clarity, gaining peace, and making room for healthier, stronger, and more aligned relationships. Because when God removes toxic connections, he is not isolating you. He is refining your circle. He is teaching you to value your peace, to protect your energy, and to trust his direction over your emotions. And even though it may feel lonely for a moment, that loneliness is temporary, but the growth, strength, and protection that come from it will last far beyond what you left behind. There comes a point in your journey where you begin to notice things that you never noticed before, where your spirit starts picking up on what your eyes cannot see and your ears cannot hear, where something deep inside you signals that not everything around you is as it appears. And this is not fear or negativity. This is spiritual discernment developing within you, a quiet but powerful ability to recognize truth from deception, sincerity from manipulation, and light from hidden darkness. And as this discernment grows, you may find yourself feeling uncomfortable in situations that once felt normal, sensing tension in conversations that seem fine on the surface, or becoming cautious around people who others trust easily. And it can feel confusing at first because you may not have clear evidence or logical reasons, but your spirit knows what your mind is still trying to process. Because when God is protecting you, he does not always shout warnings. Sometimes he whispers through your intuition, guiding you away from danger before it fully reveals itself. And this inner awareness is one of the most powerful forms of protection you can have, because it keeps you from walking blindly into harmful situations, from trusting the wrong people, and from making decisions that could cost you peace and purpose. And as you grow in this discernment, you begin to understand that not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every smile is genuine, and not every connection is safe. And instead of ignoring these feelings or dismissing them as overthinking, you start to honor them, recognizing that they are part of God's guidance in your life. And this does not mean you become judgmental or suspicious of everyone, but it means you become aware, wise, and grounded, able to navigate life with a deeper sense of clarity and protection. And over time, this discernment becomes sharper, more consistent, and more trustworthy, helping you to avoid unnecessary pain, conflict, and betrayal, because you begin to see patterns, recognize warning signs, and understand the true nature of people and situations much earlier than before. And even when others question your decisions or do not understand why you stepped back from certain people or opportunities, you remain confident in what you sense, because you know that this awareness is not coming from fear. It is coming from a place of spiritual alignment and divine protection. And as you continue to walk in this discernment, you realize that it is not just about avoiding what is wrong, but also about being drawn toward what is right, toward people, environments, and paths that bring peace, growth, and purpose into your life, shaping your journey in a way that keeps you protected, guided, and aligned with something far greater than your own understanding. There are moments in life when things don't happen the way you planned, when opportunities you were excited about suddenly fall apart, when doors you prayed for remain closed, and when progress feels slower than you expected. And in those moments, it is easy to feel frustrated, confused, and even disappointed, because you begin to question why things are not moving forward, why your efforts are not producing the results you hoped for, and why it seems like you are being held back while others move ahead. But what you may not realize is that some of those delays are not obstacles. They are protection, because God sees beyond the present moment. He understands the full picture, and he knows what lies ahead on paths that you cannot fully see. And when something is not right for you, when timing is not aligned, or when a situation carries hidden risks, God will allow a delay to step in between you and something that could ultimately harm you. And at first, it may look like rejection or failure, but later it reveals itself as protection, because there are times when if things had worked out the way you wanted, you would have walked straight into disappointment, stress, or even damage to your peace and purpose. And those delays give you time to grow, to learn, to become stronger, and to be better prepared for what is truly meant for you. Because not every opportunity is a blessing. And not every open door leads to something good. Sometimes the very thing you are asking for is not what you actually need. And God, in his wisdom, holds it back until the right moment or replaces it with something better. And while you're waiting, it may feel uncomfortable. It may test your patience and it may challenge your faith. But that waiting period is not wasted time. It is a season of preparation, alignment, and refinement, shaping you into the person who can handle what is coming next and protecting you from stepping into situations too early or with the wrong mindset. And as you look back on your life, you may begin to notice moments where something didn't work out and you felt disappointed at the time, but later you realized that if it had happened, it would have led you into something negative or taken you away from something better. And those realizations begin to change your perspective, helping you to trust that delays are not always denials, but often a sign that God is carefully guiding your path, keeping you from harm, and positioning you for something greater than what you originally imagined. And instead of becoming discouraged by what is not happening, you start to find peace in knowing that even in the waiting, there is purpose. Even in the delay, there is protection. And even when you do not understand the timing, there is a plan unfolding that is working in your favor, guarding your future and leading you towards something that is truly meant for you. There are moments in life when everything around you seems uncertain, when situations don't make sense, when problems rise without warning, and when you would normally expect to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, yet somehow deep within you, there is a calm that you cannot explain, a quiet assurance that settles your heart even when your mind is full of questions. And this kind of peace does not come from circumstances being perfect. It does not come from having all the answers. And it does not come from everything going your way. It comes from something far deeper, something spiritual, something that goes beyond human understanding. And that is the peace that God places inside you when he is protecting you, guiding you, and reminding you that you are not alone in what you are facing, because natural peace depends on external conditions. But this kind of peace remains even when conditions are unstable, even when people disappoint you, even when plans fall apart. And even when you walk through challenges that would normally shake you, there is still a steady feeling within you that says everything will be okay. And that feeling is not something you can create on your own. It is something that is given to you, something that surrounds your heart and mind like a shield, keeping fear from taking control and stopping anxiety from overwhelming your spirit. And as you experience this peace, you begin to notice that you respond to situations differently. Where you once reacted with panic, you now respond with patience. Where you once felt lost, you now feel guided. And where you once carried heavy stress, you now carry a quiet confidence, not because everything is perfect, but because you trust that God is in control. And this trust changes the way you see your circumstances, helping you to focus less on what is going wrong and more on the presence that is with you through it all. And even when others around you do not understand how you can remain calm in difficult situations, you recognize that this peace is not based on logic. It is based on faith. It's a sign that God is near, that he is covering you, and that he is working behind the scenes even when you cannot see immediate results. And over time, this peace becomes a foundation in your life. Something you rely on when challenges come, something that reminds you that no matter what happens externally, there is a stability within you that cannot be shaken. And it becomes clear that this unexplainable peace is not just a feeling, it is a form of protection, guarding your heart from fear, protecting your mind from chaos, and keeping you grounded in the middle of life's storms, allowing you to move forward with confidence, strength, and trust, knowing that you are being held, guided, and protected in ways that go beyond what you can fully understand.